So write this down. 15, 1, 5. Write down 15, 1, 5. And right after it, days left in this quarter. 15 days left, 15 work days left in this quarter. After that, write down 3 quarters left in the year. Write down 3 quarters left in the year. Then after that, write down, well, not so, because the last quarter isn't a complete quarter. So you really don't have 3 quarters left. You really have 2 1/4 quarters left. So write down 2 1/4 quarters left. Okay? 15 days left in this quarter, 15 work days. Now, who here remembers January 2nd? January 2nd, not too long ago, right?
Yes.
January 2nd. Now there's 15 work days left in this quarter. At January 2nd, there was 60 days, 20 work days more or less in each month. So we had 60 work days January 2nd, and now there's 15 work days left. So here's one of the questions. Are you where you want to be? Just write a yes or a no down. Are you where you want to be at this point in the year? And hear what I'm going to say. Now, Saturday night, we had our annual Centurion dinner where we had taken our Centurions out to dinner. We had 55 people, almost 60 people for the event. We had 30 Centurions, probably one of the biggest groups we've ever had. It was just absolutely amazing. Beautiful rooftop experience in Beverly Hills, overlooking the entire city. We'd love every single... Here's the problem that we'd like to create for my wife. Will you guys help me out here? Okay? Finding a new venue for a group of 100, 125 people would be really tough.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Be huge, right? Very big. I'd like you to create that challenge for her. Okay? Because she starts working on it today for where we're going to take the Centurions and their spouses next year. Okay? So I'd like all of you, I'd like to have an all-Centurion company. Wouldn't that be great? It's been one of the dreams I've had since I started in 1989, building the company, was an all-Centurion office. So this year, I think Centurion is 209,000 gross commission income is entry level. Then there's double Centurion, and then there's Grand Centurion. And by the way, this last year, we had 3 Grand Centurion teams. We've had one many times, and this year we had 3. So it's pretty spectacular. Amy, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want you to come with us at church because a lot of the new agents don't
Yes.
know what it is.
Right. So did I cover that okay? Yeah. Okay. So we'd love to have you there to do that. But think about it. What I wanted to get to there was that 3 agents in the company right now, in the first 2.5 months, are very close to already achieving Centurion status. They've had that good of a first quarter. Okay? Some of you are right on their tail. Some of you are a little bit off. The point is that the business is there, the opportunities are there, lots of good things are happening. Mostly for you that are listing agents. Okay? When you're a great listing agent, you will excel in this marketplace. Look, I've said this before. Bottom line is, in any market, he or she who controls the listings wins. Right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay? He or she who controls the listings in either market wins the deal. But in this market, how'd you like to be a buyer's agent? How'd you like to go write 20, on every listing, almost every one of our listings, there's between 8 and 22 offers on these properties. So 21 people aren't going to get the deal. Think about that. But the listing agent always gets paid. Don't you love it? Where should you be spending most of your time going forward? Listings. Certainly in this market. Get better at it. But what I did this weekend is I kind of took some of that and I looked at the listing side, I looked at the selling side, I looked at business, and I didn't want to be quite as specific. I wanted to be a little bit more general. So I was thinking in terms of advice I would give to my children and my grandchildren, okay? Because sometimes I actually believe that you think I'm going to give you different advice than I would to them. I do believe that, okay? So today, I'm going to give advice to my grandchildren and my children, and you can listen in. What do you think? And if you want to use some of it, great. And if you don't, okay. And let's see if it's really different. All right? So write this down. I wrote down here, one of the first pieces of advice I would give to them is always be working to grow to your maximum potential. Always be working to grow every day in every way to your maximum potential. I wrote down here, growth is change. And if we don't grow, we're really not living. We have to be growing in every area, not just business, not just financial, but in the mental side, in our health side, in our physicality, how we are spiritually. We have to be growing in every single way. I wrote down here, growth is also a choice. You can choose to grow, or you can choose not to grow. It's up to you. And it's a daily thing. I wrote down here, those who choose to grow will always reach their potential, and those that choose not to grow cannot reach their potential. Even though you think you're at your pinnacle, you're the best of the best, there's always room for growth in everything that you do. I had an opportunity this weekend to watch a video on the building of America and some of the men and women that were instrumental in the financial building of America, the railroads, the oil, some of the banking and finance. And what was clear in the lessons I learned there is, and these men and women together were wealthier than any of the men and women that are the millionaires and billionaires today. The Rockefellers, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Morgan, Carnegie, and well, those are really the four titans, if you will. Those were the four titans. And their wealth in today's dollars would have been the $400 billion. They said that the four of them together was in excess of $1 trillion, which was greater than the wealth of 40 of the most wealthiest people today that you can amass together. Interesting number, huh? 4. And yet, they kept growing and learning and doing. Some of them not so good, some of them pretty good. As it turned out, Rockefeller and Carnegie were competitors through their growth. And then they were competitors through giving their money away. They amassed these massive fortunes and were competing all the way up. And then were competing to give it away. It was amazing. One built this massive Carnegie Hall, this music center in New York City. Rockefeller built Rockefeller Center. I mean, it was just one thing after another. Carnegie, I think, built 23 or 2,500 libraries around the world. It was just amazing. Everybody did different things. Growth is a choice. I wrote down here, the only thing you can improve is yourself. The only thing you can really work on improving is yourself. And when you do, everything else around you suddenly gets better. When you're improving you, when you're improving your health, when you're working on the things that you need to be working on for yourself, everything around you tends to get better. I wrote down, growth is not automatic. Growth is not automatic. Growth today will provide a better tomorrow, but growth is your responsibility. You're responsible for your growth. I wrote down to them, be teachable. Be teachable. In my life, one of the things that my wife and I do, whether we're winning or losing a situation, is we always ask ourselves, what did we learn here? What's the lesson in this? Whether it's a winning situation or a losing situation, what did we learn? What did we analyze here? Take a look at it. Be teachable. Learn from every situation, good or bad. I wrote down, the more you learn, the more you know what you don't know. Boy, the smarter I get, the more brilliant my parents look. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? The older I get, the smarter I get, the more brilliant my parents become. It's fascinating. I wrote down here, focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. Focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. Fulfillment is a byproduct of self-development, not the goal. And underline this, put stars around it. Never stay satisfied with current accomplishments. Never stay satisfied with current accomplishments. It's great where you are, but it's nowhere near where you could be. I wrote down, successful people do not rest on their laurels. They don't sit back. They don't relax. They're constantly looking for another way to do this. A faster way, a less expensive way, a better way, providing better service. I wrote down, you should never be complacent. Instead, move on to greater growth. Be a continual learner. See, I keep coming back to be teachable, learn constantly. You know, here's a question. How many books have you read so far this year? And what were they? Penthouse doesn't count, guys. Okay? Doesn't count. Oh, darn, I know. How many books? What'd you read? Concentrate on a few major themes. Keep your focus narrow. Give your time and energy only to the themes at the heart of your life. You can't be all things to all people. You just can't. I can't be the president of this organization, the president of that organization, the president of that organization, and do any good for any of them. It's like philanthropy, at least at my level. I give more to one or two organizations because that money would have a more important focus than if I give $10 to everybody. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay? My grandfather was that way. My grandfather and grandmother would give money, a couple dollars to everybody. And that's great. But they didn't have an impact on anything. You know, they help people along the way. And that's fantastic. But you have to find something that talks to you and do something with it, financially or with your time, or both. I wrote down here, develop a plan for growth. You should develop a specific plan to grow. Okay? Not just business goals, growth goals. How are you going to grow in this life? I wrote down here, set a time, specific time, once a day, 5 days a week, for you to sit down and think, learn, do. Think about the week. Think about the day. Think about what you're working on. Plan it out. And then I wrote down here, pay the price. Now, I'm talking to my kids. I know I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my grandchildren. But if that hammers home, pay the price. Pay the price. There are no free lunches in this world. They're just not. You have to pay the price. I wrote down here, self-development requires discipline. It can cost you time and effort. You cannot buy success with laziness. All great people in any walk of life worked hard at whatever it was they did. The painter, the concert pianist, the real estate agent, the banker, the guy that does or the gal that does the exercise, the Pilates people, whether you're working on, your physical appearance, the people that do what they're supposed to do and do it at a really high level are not lazy. I wrote down here, find a way to apply what you learn. Knowledge is only useful when it leads to action. Just knowing it isn't enough. Learning it isn't enough. You must put it into action. And ask yourself where you can use the information you learned. What can you use it for, and who else needs it? Circle that. That is my core, my essence, where I come from. Any book I read, any movie I see, any conversation I have, my question is always that. What did I learn here, and how can I help others with it? And what an amazing life you can have on all ends of the spectrum when you come to life from that way. So I wrote down, draw a line, and I wrote down discipline. The critical denominator, discipline. I wrote down, this year can be our most successful year ever if we're willing to practice more discipline than we have ever done in our lives. If we are willing to practice more discipline. Not completely disciplined, not 100% discipline, more discipline, more. Discipline is about doing what is necessary when it is necessary, whether we feel like it or not. That's what discipline's about. Let me tell you something. I had a cold Saturday and Sunday. I was miserable. I did not feel good. I did not feel like writing this. I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like going to a party with 50 people Saturday night. Okay? But it's what I do. I'm disciplined to do that. Does that make sense? You guys, most of you have had a cold. Most of you had the sniffles. I am so loaded with drugs right now, I don't even know where I am. I have taken so much of the stuff that dries you up, I'm like a prune. Just so I can make sure that I'm up here doing my job to help move you from where you are to your next level. Does that make sense? I wrote down here, where there's a will, there's a way. It means paying the price so you can have the reward later. People must develop discipline in 3 areas. Write these down. There's 3 areas of discipline. First of all, and not necessarily in any particular order, disciplined thinking. Keep your mind active as always think about the right things. Disciplined thinking. I wrote down here disciplined emotions. Either you master your emotions or your emotions master you. Either you keep it between the lines, no matter what's going on in your life, or they are going to take hold of you. So whatever's happening, keep it between the lines. Are you going to have a bad 15 minutes occasionally? Absolutely. Everybody gets 15 minutes, not in a row. So I don't want to see a bunch of you taking 5 15 minutes in a row, okay? No. But you're going to have a bad moment. You're going to have a bad time. You're not going to feel really good about it. I get that. Take that time, go off in a corner, rant and rave for your 15 minutes and get back into action. Disciplined action separates the winners from the losers. When people act on what they must do on a regular basis, great things happen. When you act on what you're supposed to do over time, great things happen. So, the question I wrote down here is, how do you become more disciplined? So here's a couple of thoughts. By strengthening our work habits. By strengthening our work habits. School teaches us to do our homework when it ought to be done, whether we like it or not, right? We get a homework assignment. It's due tomorrow. Whether we like it or we don't, we've got to turn it back in. If you don't turn it in, there's a consequence for not turning it in. You do that enough times, you got yourself a little bit of a problem here. All right? So it's always the most amazing thing to me. Why kids wouldn't turn in their homework. Usually, most homework assignments are pretty simple. Typically. Maybe it's spelling a few words. Maybe it's writing a paragraph. Maybe it's doing a little bit of adding and subtracting. Whatever it is, it's a pretty simple assignment. Certainly, high school and below. Maybe not for the APs. Look, I'm not sure I'm the right person to talk about high school because I didn't think at last count I had 18 or 19 Ds. So maybe I'm not the... But I never could understand why kids, after I went there, couldn't turn in their homework. Because it's a pretty simple thing. Why don't we? If I would have continued on that path, would I be standing here today?
No.
I didn't turn in my homework. I didn't do what the teacher asked me to do. I didn't follow directions. I had to learn to do that. I had to discipline myself to do that. And there were mentors in my life, people that I respected, people that came to me at different parts of my life that beat me over the head and said, you got to do this. And I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and, now there's this. It's pretty amazing. Look at me, Ma. I'm 40-year overnight success. One step at a time. One step at a time. One homework assignment turned in at a time. One script written out at a time. One preview at a time. One door knock at a time. One coaching meeting at a time. Writing one message at a time. Doing one video at a time. Doing it, taking action. Doing it, taking action. That's where we are today. Do something, I wrote down here, do something necessary but unpleasant every day to keep yourself trained and learn how to become more disciplined. Do something every day you don't want to do. I do not want to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Get up. I don't want to go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night. Go to sleep. I don't want to read a page in a book. Read the page in the book. I don't want to work on this script. Work on that script. Little things, tiny things that build on the other tiny things. Kids don't automatically start running. They have to crawl first, kind of get their balance, then they stand up. It's kind of funny how to watch them go, and they kind of take a step, and then they take another step. It's fascinating how that little child who takes just a few steps transforms that in pretty short order into a full gallop that you can't keep up with at the mall. It's interesting, isn't it? And that little kid that was just weeks before just learning how to walk is now running everywhere. because it was learning to build on the little things. So I wrote down here, let's work on some ways to improve our business over the next few weeks. I wrote down the question, so question yourself, what's working? Okay? Whatever you're doing, what's working, write that down. And then do more of it. Write that down. What's working, establish it. And then write down, do more of it. And then I wrote down here, what is not working to your expectations? What is not working to your expectations? And do less of it. What's working, do more. What's not working, do less. It's okay. It's pretty simple stuff, huh? If door knocking is working, do more of it. If door knocking is not working, do phone calling. I'm perfectly fine with that. But if door knocking is not working and phone calling is not working, what the hell else is there? Well, okay, let's choose something. If you don't need to make money, don't do anything. But if you have to make money, there's 3 or 4 choices here. Choose one. I don't care. But you better be talking to 150 to 200, 250 people every single week right now, or you're in for big trouble come the end of this year. You know it, and I know it. I'm watching it every single day. We're watching these numbers. Those of you that hit good numbers on a regular basis are getting business, getting opportunities, getting better at your listing presentations, learning what to say and how to say it. Those of you that aren't doing the numbers, aren't. It's that simple. It's that simple. There's no trick here. Now, I'm telling this to my children. I'm not telling it to you. This is to my kids and my grandkids, remember? I'm not telling it to you. I'm telling it to my kids. I'm telling it to my grandchildren. They better get it, because if they don't get it, there's going to be no future for them. They better get that. I wrote down here, be adaptable. I wrote down, be adaptable. Characteristics of people who have adaptability. They are highly teachable. Be adaptable. Probably one of the things that Mike Ferry says I am the best at is being versatile. Take a swing at me, I duck. Take another swing at me, I duck. I just keep bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving. That is my MO. I'm just versatile. The market is a listing market. We need listing agents. That's where we need to go. Let's go in that direction. All of a sudden, the REO business was in play. We didn't go to the REOs because that was a dead-end street. What did we do? We captured the buyers. 2,500 open house signs that said, bank-owned property that way. And what'd you guys have? 30, 40, 50, 100 people show up at your open houses every week? Remember that? That's how some of you survived this thing. Weren't getting any REO business. Now the REO business is gone, and all of those buyers that you sold houses to, remember those people? Their house is worth more today, isn't it? And your job is to go tell them that and talk to them about listing that house and buying another one. Being adaptable. I wrote down here, we need to under-promise and over-deliver. Write that down. We need to under-promise and over-deliver in our relationships in life. We have to do what has to be done when it has to be done as well as it has to be done. I'll say it again. We have to do what has to be done when it has to be done as well as it has to be done. And this is the thought I want to kind of wrap it up on. For my kids, not for you guys. When you're not working to improve yourself, when you're not working to improve, your competition is. Get that in your head. When you're not working to improve yourself, your competition is. So no matter how good you are as a natural talent, you'd better be working to polish up and improve those natural skills to help take you to the next level. Because let me tell you something, there's people out there that are doing that. And they're doing it today, and they're going to do it tomorrow.